Well, today is the day you figure it out. And I'll warn you, number 3 on this list is the one that breaks most relationships silently and visibly without a single argument. It just erodes things until one day she's gone and you're holding your phone wondering when everything changed. So pay attention when we get there. Here we go. Number 7, interrupt her overthinking with physical certainty. Every woman has a version of this moment. She's spiraling. Maybe it's about work. Maybe it's about something her mother said. Maybe it's about a comment her friend made 3 days ago that she's been mentally dissecting with forensic precision. Her brain is running 17 tabs and none of them are loading properly. What most men do in this situation is try to fix it. They start troubleshooting. Well, have you tried talking to your boss? Maybe just don't respond to her text. And from a logical standpoint, that makes perfect sense. Problem identified, solution offered, case closed. But here's what she actually wants and what she will chew her own off before requesting. She wants you to walk over without saying a single word. Take her face in both hands and kiss her forehead. Or pull her against your chest and just hold there. No advice, no commentary, just your physical presence, communicating something that words consistently fail to deliver. I'm here. I'm solid. You can fall apart for a second because I'm not going anywhere. Neuroscientist Dr. Tiffany Field, who founded the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami, has published over 100 studies proving that physical touch reduces cortisol levels by up to 31% within minutes. But here's what the data doesn't capture: the snort's emotional weight of unsolicited touch from someone you trust. That's not just stress relief. That's safety made physical. Snorts. She won't ask for this because asking for comfort feels like admitting weakness. Most women have been conditioned to handle everything themselves. Requesting to be held feels like filing a formal complaint against her own independence. So she spirals alone and quietly resents that you didn't notice. You don't need to read her mind, you need to read her shoulders. If they're tense, if she's gone quiet, if she's scrolling her phone but clearly not absorbing anything, that's your signal. Don't ask what's wrong. Just close the distance and be the interruption her nervous system is begging for. Number 6, say her name during intimate moments and not just those moments. There is something neurologically electric about hearing your own name spoken by someone you're attracted to. A study from the journal Brain Research found that hearing your own name activates specific regions of the left hemisphere associated with self-representation and identity processing. Your name is the one word in any language that your brain treats as fundamentally yours. Now, apply that to intimacy, not just physical intimacy, though. Yes, absolutely that. But also the quiet moments when you're cooking together and he says your name before asking you to hand him the salt. When you're walking ahead of him and he calls your name just to make you turn around so he can look at you. When he's telling a story to his friends and says, "So then Sarah turns to me." And the fact that she exists in his narrative by name, not as my girlfriend or she, but as her. Most men default to pet names. Babe, baby, hun. Those are warm and familiar, but also generic. Every woman he's ever dated was probably babe at some point. Her name, though, that's exclusively hers. And when you use it in a moment of intensity, a whispered confession, a heated argument where you stop and say her actual name, a moment of closeness where her name is the only word you can manage, that creates a response that pet names simply cannot replicate. She'll never ask you to use her name more often because that would make it feel manufactured. The power is that it feels instinctive, like you're so consumed by her specifically that her name is the word your brain reaches for automatically. Number 5, handle another man's attention toward her with calm dominance, not reactive jealousy. This one is spicy, and I know it's going to trigger some debate, so let me be precise. She does not want you to start a fight or make a scene. That's not attractive. That's a liability. But she also doesn't want you to be completely unbothered. If another man is clearly flirting with her and you just sit there sipping your drink with zero reaction, She registers that, and what she registers is not, wow, he's so secure. What she registers is, he doesn't care enough to respond. The sweet spot is calm, measured possessiveness. You walk over, you place your hand on her lower back. You look the other guy in the eye with completely relaxed confidence that says, I see exactly what you're doing and I'm not even slightly threatened, but she's with me and we both know it. Maybe you extend a handshake. Maybe you introduce yourself. Maybe you simply redirect the conversation with a casual smile that communicates absolute ownership of the situation. Evolutionary psychologist Dr. David Buss found that women consistently rated proportional mate guarding as attractive. The key word is proportional. Too much, and she feels controlled. Too little, and she feels undervalued. But that middle ground, where you acknowledge the situation without being destabilized by it, that is profoundly attractive on both a conscious and subconscious level. The dirty part, she might even enjoy the moment a little. Not because she wants to make you jealous, but because your response tells her everything about your confidence, your investment, and your willingness to claim her without caging her. That distinction, claiming versus caging, is where most guys get it catastrophically wrong. Number 4, take something off her plate without announcing it. This is the silent killer of female attraction, and almost nobody is talking about it. The American Psychological Association's 2023 Stress in America survey found that women reported significantly higher levels of chronic stress than men across every measured category: work, family, household management, emotional labor, logistics, scheduling. She is running an invisible project management system in her head at all times, and most of it goes completely unnoticed. She wants you to identify one thing on her mental checklist without her having to delegate it and just handle it quietly, completely, without expecting a parade. The car needs an oil change. It's done. She mentioned the kitchen faucet is dripping. Fixed by the time she gets home. She's been stressing about groceries. The fridge is stocked. Not because she asked, because you paid attention and acted. Researcher Eve Rodsky calls this cognitive labor in her book Fair Play. Her research shows that in most heterosexual relationships, women carry roughly 70% of this invisible workload. And the exhaustion isn't from the tasks themselves. It's from being the only person who remembers that the tasks exist. When a man proactively handles something without being told, it creates a wave of relief and attraction that is almost embarrassingly powerful. She feels genuinely cared for, not because the task was hard, because the noticing was rare. She'll never ask you to do this, because asking you to take something off her plate is ironically another thing on her plate. The moment she has to identify the task, explain it, and follow up on whether you did it, she's done more work than if she'd handled it herself. The magic is in the initiative. The magic is in her coming home and realizing something is already done. And she didn't have to think about it for even 1 second. Men who master Clear's throat, this become addictive because in a world where she has to manage everything, the man who manages something for her becomes the only place she can actually rest. Number 3, this is the relationship killer I warned you about. She wants you to pursue her after you already have her. That's it. That's the whole thing. And it is staggering how many men completely abandon this the moment the relationship becomes official. During the dating phase, you were incredible. You texted first, you planned dates, you complimented her without being prompted. Every interaction felt like you were actively choosing her, like being with her was a privilege you didn't take for granted. Then you got comfortable, and comfort is wonderful, but somewhere between comfort and complacency, you stopped doing the things that made her fall for you, not because you stopped caring, because you assumed the work was done. Dr. John Gottman, whose research has predicted divorce with over 90% accuracy, identifies this as the erosion of turning toward. His data shows that couples who eventually separated had a turning toward rate of only 33%, while couples who stayed together maintained a rate above 80%. She doesn't need grand romantic gestures every week. She needs evidence, consistent, undeniable evidence that you would choose her again today. That if you met her for the first time this afternoon, you'd still pursue her. That she hasn't become furniture in your life. She will never vocalize this because saying, I need you to pursue me again, feels desperate. So instead, she goes quiet, she pulls back, she starts investing less because you invested less first. And by the time the conversation happens, if it ever does, the distance has already hardened into something much more difficult to reverse. A random Tuesday text that says, I was just thinking about you and had to tell you, takes 4 seconds to send and can sustain weeks of emotional connection. A planned date night, not because she asked, but because you refuse to stop being the man who plans things, communicates more than 1,000 I love yous on autopilot. The men who keep pursuing their partners long after the chase is over are the men whose partners never stop being in love with them. The men who stop, they become roommates slowly, painlessly, and then all at once. Number 2, be verbally explicit about your desire for her, specifically her. Most men think women want to hear that they're beautiful, and they do, but your beautiful is the baseline. It's the equivalent of tipping 15% snorts expected, and it doesn't leave an impression. What she actually wants, what makes her replay your words at 2 a.m. in the morning, is snort specificity. Not you're beautiful, but the way you tilt your head when you're thinking about something serious makes it physically difficult for me to concentrate. Not, I'm attracted to you, but I watched you walk across the room at that party and I forgot I was mid-conversation with someone. Not you look good, but that thing you did with your hair today, I've been distracted since this morning and it's becoming a problem. The dirty element here is intensity. She wants to feel like your attraction to her is slightly unmanageable. Not in a threatening way, in a way that communicates you have disrupted my ability to function normally, and I am not even a little bit sorry about it. That raw, almost confessional quality where you're not delivering a compliment but admitting to a condition, that's what makes women feel genuinely desired. She'll never ask for this because you can't request obsession. It has to come from authentic overwhelm. And the beautiful thing is, if you actually feel it, all you have to do is stop censoring yourself. The thoughts are already there. You're just not saying them out loud. Start saying them out loud. Number 1, physically move her. I saved this for last because it's the one that makes women lose their composure fastest, and it's the one men are most hesitant to do. She wants you to physically guide her, move her, reposition her with confidence and without asking first. Hand on her waist, steering her to the other side of the sidewalk so she's not walking next to traffic. Fingers laced through hers, pulling her in a different direction because you spotted something you want to show her. Palm against her lower back, guiding her through a doorway. Hand on her thigh under the table, not groping, not performing, just present. Standing behind her, both hands on her hips, gently turning her towards something. A study published in Evolutionary Behavioral Sciences found that women rated physical assertiveness, defined as confident, not aggressive physical guidance, as one of the top 5 indicators of a desirable partner. This behavior activated associations with protection, decisiveness, and physical confidence simultaneously. The psychology behind this is primal. Physical movement communicates that you are present in your body, comfortable in your strength, and confident enough to occupy space and to include her in that space. The reason this is number 1 is because it operates entirely outside of language. You can't fake this with words. You can't text it. It only exists in real time in the electricity of physical proximity and the confidence to close that distance without hesitation. She will never say, I wish you would just grab me and move me where you want me. But every time your hand finds her waist and redirects her, every time you pull her closer without explanation, you become the man she compares every fictional character and every passing fantasy to. And none of them win because they're not real. And you're standing right there with your hand on her back, proving that reality is better. So now you have them. 7 things women have been silently wishing for and stubbornly refusing to verbalize since the beginning of recorded romantic history. The fact that you watched this entire video tells me you're not the kind of man who assumes he already knows everything. You're the kind who actually wants to understand. That quality alone puts you ahead of 90% of the men she's ever encountered. But knowledge without action is just trivia. I didn't make this video so you could store these as interesting facts. I made it so you could use them tonight, tomorrow, in the next quiet moment, where you choose between playing it safe and doing something that actually makes her feel something. Choose the second option every time. Now, here's something that ties everything together in a way that might genuinely change your next interaction with her. While you've been sitting here learning what she secretly wants, there's an entirely separate reality playing out on her end that you're probably blind to. She's been watching YouTube. She's been evaluating, calculating, and in many cases, she's already made her decision about you. The verdict is in, and she's not sharing it. The video appearing on your screen right now is called 4 Clear Signs She's Already Chosen You, but Isn't Telling You. And if you don't watch it next, everything you just learned becomes only half the equation. Knowing what she wants is powerful, but recognizing when she's already decided you're the one, that's the difference between a man who's trying and a man who's already won without realizing it. It's right there. Go watch it now. I'll see you on the other.